some of the things we're seeing these days, and some of these are probably enduring, some are probably more COVID related. These are some of the challenges that I think people are coming to us with. We do lots of what are called clinics or consultations. If you're looking for information on that, it's on our website. Sign it up, tell us what your problem is. We'll sit down with a lawyer, myself, or a strategist or somebody and say, what's going on? These are the ones that we've seen in our own board development work over the last probably year or so, I would think. It's really a lack of clarity regarding roles, responsibilities, and activities of individual board members, and perhaps even with the staff. So are people clear what a board member does, what the staff do, what we do collectively? I would say this is an ongoing kind of thing. This isn't necessarily COVID related, probably been exacerbated a bit by COVID, but how to be clear about what I'm supposed to do here. And I think, and again, it doesn't necessarily matter how long you've been on a board for, or you can be a board of a really big, large, high profile organization. To spend time on this and to understand how it means for your board at this time in the period of the context we're in right now is really, really important. So understanding roles and responsibilities, make sure everybody has that, and it's a common understanding. So I don't have one understanding of a role and you have a different understanding. That's not quite what we're getting to here. How do we get that common understanding that fits our context and our circumstances and stays within all those parameters of, fiduciary duty and all those things we're supposed to do as a board. There are poor and fractured relationships, like any team sport, like any relationship. I think, again, COVID's been tough on this, from, folks just who, haven't, had different opinions to, I think we've had situations of all sort of division and warfare on a board. So how do you work with people who you don't necessarily agree with? And you don't have to be best buddies on a board, but you do have to be governors with them people. So how do you work with relationships that probably aren't firing the way you might hope they would? An issue, again, I think a COVID kind of one, but probably been there in every board. You always have some relationships that maybe a little off here and there. Recruitment engagement of board members. I think it is hard. It's been hard. You see this time after time from boards. It's just hard to recruit these days. It was hard during COVID. You had people sort of stick with it and maybe drop off. It was hard to get new people because you weren't seeing people. We're seeing, I think, some significant shifts in volunteering in the sector anyway. Volunteerism didn't disappear during COVID, but it sure took a hit as people couldn't come out to facilities, couldn't do things face to face. Yeah, there was some online stuff, wasn't quite the same. So volunteering is kind of one of those things that over in Canada, it is declining year over year anyway, and did take a hit during COVID. So recruiting board members as volunteers has been a challenge, fit within that larger context. For some boards, not a problem, but for others it is. So it's one of those things, is how do I get the right people on the bus in the right roles, well supported, and how to make sure we have enough people to govern these organizations. I think organizing and structuring the work of a board is always, ongoing work, and this changes over time. That you might come up with a structure with a hierarchy or a committee system, but again, something you need to review it over time. So I once joined a board that I think had, 12 board members and 14 committees. And you sort of do the math thinking, boy, I'm going to be on a lot of committees here. So, but committees didn't ever really meet, and probably not 14 really specific functional areas for committees to work within. So the restructuring of that, getting it down, I think we 5 or 6, we got it down to something like that, which is still probably a lot. But it actually, you need to look at it from time to time, saying, does the structure we have serve the needs we have, both as a board and then ultimately as the organization? And then challenge engaging and utilizing the skills of board members in an appropriate manner. This is one I think that is probably one of the deeper concerns probably for every board, is that we join boards because we have something we want to give back, either specifically or generally. But how do I really bring my whole self without sort of getting into areas where as a board member I'm not supposed to be in? How do I sort of avoid making management decisions or getting involved in the day-to-day side of the organization? So how do I bring my best self to the organization? And how do I sort of think about where can I be as a board member my best self for this?